Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Mystic Beauty. Welcome back to the Cosmic Royal family. Okay, so y'all, I thought that I'd bring something new to our channel. We're going to be reacting to videos of voodoo love spells that have went bad. Go bad on you. Take this as an educational video because somebody out here needs to know this. When you're doing this type of work, it can go bad. It can reverse back on you.
Here, I want another love spell story because I'm on a roll today. Somebody just submitted this one to me and this one is good. I can't believe you guys are this unhinged. Let's get into the story time. This one is T. We're gonna call this guy Andre. Andre was the one who submitted this story to me, and Andre's Jamaican. So Andre was in a relationship with this girl and they had a very tumultuous relationship. That means for whatever reason the relationship was always toxic. It seemed like they were always getting together and breaking up, getting together and breaking up. Until one day Andre was like, I really cannot take this no more. I really want out of this relationship. I want nothing to do with this. He said that a couple months went by and one day he just felt the urge to just get back together with the girl. So he did. He said that he would later find out that this girl was into some dark shit. Unbeknownst to him, this girl had other plans. She was tired of the back and forth. So after they got back together, Andre said that they always had like a super close best friend relationship where they could tell each other anything. So one day as a joke, she winds up saying something along the lines of, you know, for a second there, I was scared. I didn't think my stuff was working. I didn't think it worked. I didn't think I was going to get you back. So then Andre asked her, like, what do you mean by that? And she said, as a joke, what if I did obia on you and that's why you're here? As a joke, though. They both laughed about it and moved on. He also mentioned that upon them getting back together, she was really, really pushy in terms of sex. He said that he was never the type of dude to run a red light, okay? But one day during that time of the month for his girl, she really wanted to do it. And she convinced him and they did it. Keep in mind that this girl had already met Andre's parents. And
okay, y'all. So a lot of y'all already know because a lot of y'all ain't no rookies. But some of you guys are, you know, new to this journey and you're new to certain things like, you know, blood magic. So being intimate while you're on your menstrual is a complete no-no, okay? Your blood is a very powerful, sacred energy, and it can bind you. It could bind somebody to you. And unless you want to have somebody stuck to you and, you know, things could get a little ugly, all right? If it go back on you, if something go wrong, like you don't want to be using blood, okay? So let's get back in it.
Andre mentioned that his mother never liked his girlfriend. But you know, Jamaican parents are hard to please. One day, the mom came up to him and said, son, I had a dream. Like, I really don't like that girl, you know? I had a dream that your grandmother came to me and told me that she was working obia on you. Do what you want with that information, but I don't think you should stay with her. Andre is a spirit.
Hold on. So, did the ancestors just step in on their grandson's behalf? I think they did. Sound like to me somebody's grandma stepped in, came to the mom in a dream and told on the girlfriend that she is doing magic on their son.
Spiritual dude. Andre's a spiritual dude, but he's like, obia? I don't know. So he decides to go home and he sat his girlfriend down and started by saying, I know what you've been doing to me, just to see if she would say anything. He said that my mother came up to me and said that she had a dream and went on to tell her what the mother's dream was. And he said, well, does that sound familiar? And homegirl would say, okay, so now here's the tea. She said during one of their back and forth, she said that, well, she read somewhere that blood is a very powerful ingredient to binding. And mirrors are also very powerful magic tools. So she thought, why don't I just combine both? She said that one day she missed him so much that she wrote his name in blood in the mirror and she stood in front of it and summoned him. She was also saying affirmation like, you're obsessed with me, you want me, you love me, you can't leave me alone. She said she didn't think it would work because she had only did it once and it took him a while to get to her, to get back together with her. And she also brought up that time that they did it while she was on her. He said he was utterly disgusted that she would even do something like that. He said he left He said he did a cleanse on one of the beaches. He wore all white and then walked into the water, dunked his head to try to cleanse himself and get rid of her energy or her spirit around. Well, he successfully stayed away from her. But she, on the other hand, cannot leave that man alone. He says that this girl is literally obsessed with him, like showing up to his house, obsessed with him, get cussed out by his family and still comes back because she wants the man that bad. She told him that if he doesn't get back together with her, that she will unalive herself. And she attempted. Her family found...
Okay. No. See, this is what happens when spell work reverse back on you. Now, instead of him being crazy, because he did a ritual, the all white in the ocean, cleansing energy, cleansed himself, right? He cleansed himself. Now, since he removed the energy off of him, it went back to her. And now she tripping. She done popped up outside homeboy's house. Y'all, this is crazy.
Took her to the hospital. And when she came back home from the hospital, guess who was the first person she went to go see? Andre. And Andre says that it's gotten to the point where she done fought his mama. It's gotten to the point where she done fought his mama, his sister, his cousin. She done got jumped. And that girl don't care. She want that man. He says that she doesn't present as a physical threat to him, but he's definitely...
This girl have gotten her whooped by all the women in the family at this point, has whooped this girl's butt outside the house because she keeps trying to get to their son. Oh no, she crazy.
Definitely afraid for the ladies around him because she has also showed up to his dates, sat on top of his car and refused to get off the car because he was with another woman. And now he's thinking about moving because he cannot get rid of her. And the craziest thing is he didn't do nothing. She was trying to get him to be obsessed with her, but some way, somehow, I never heard this before, but a Uno reverse happened and she winded up being the obsessed one. Golly, that was a good one. Thank you, Andre. I really do wish you the best.
Hey, y'all, that is wild, okay? That is a buck wild, all right? Sis literally lost her mind. I mean, luckily for him, he's spiritual. He probably come from like a spiritual background. He know how to cleanse himself. He know how to remove energy off of him, y'all. But what if he didn't? Jeez. And then the energy went back on her. And then she outside sitting on top of this guy's, on top of this guy's car. All right. His mama, his sister, his grandma, his aunts done jumped this girl. And she keeps coming back. This is crazy. All right. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't know who needs to hear this. Don't do it. All right. Let's see. Can we find? Let's do another one. She's a really good storyteller. Let's do another one of her.
My grandmother told me never be desperate enough for love that you do a love spell on somebody, and this is why. We're gonna call this woman Yoli, and we're gonna call her boyfriend Mark. So Yoli was in love with Mark, okay? There's nothing that Yoli was not willing to do for this man. That was her man. That was her person. Like, she would go to bat for Mark. Like, she would take a bullet for Mark. However, it just wasn't reciprocated. Now,
Can we take a moment to appreciate the crown on this girl, y'all? I'm sorry, but I have a fascination with big curly froze. I love it. She's so beautiful. Her hair is so beautiful. Okay, let's get back to it.
Mind, this story took place in Haiti, and if you know anything about Haitian men, like, I'm not gonna say too much, but like, they be having like 10 different families. So needless to say that Mark had these little things on the side, and Mark was definitely dragging Yoli through the mud. And if you know anything else about Haitian women, we love a good gossip. So all the other women from the neighborhood would just watch how Yoli and Mark move about and just go gossip about her behind her back. And Yoli, being aware of this fact, was just honestly dying from embarrassment. Not only is it embarrassing that everybody else has this image of her, but it's also embarrassing that she knows that she loves this man and there's not a thing that she's not willing to do for him. So why isn't it reciprocated? It's a weird juxtaposition of siding with everybody else but wanting to stay with that person. One day Mark comes home and Mark tells Yoli that, yo, basically, like, I'm not gonna lie, you're great, but like, we're gonna have to part our ways. Needless to say, Yoli didn't take it very well because they were still living together, right? until Yoli got the brilliant idea. So Yoli decides, I shot this part so many times and my TikTok just keeps fucking up. So she decides, she goes to the priest and she tells him that she wants a love spell done on Mark. And the voodoo priest is like, okay, but just so you know, this is what it would entail. This potion that he was about to give her, which included her blood, by the way, which was what did the binding, right? Keep that in mind. So this potion, once you feed it to Mark, would last for the next 6 months. After those 6 months, you don't even want to wait for those 6 months to be up, because you need to come back before those 6 months are up, get you another potion and feed it to Mark, because you do not want to reap the consequences of your own actions of putting a love spell on somebody. Mark became a new man, so much so that the entire neighborhood even starts to notice, and they even start to talk about it. Like, what is going on? Didn't Mark really not care for Yoli like that? Like, why are they all buddy-buddy now? Okay, we here for it though. For the first 6 months, it is as though Mark made a complete...
She said, we here for it though. So Mark went from being a whore, a player, okay, a rolling stone, a man with 6 families, to loyal and faithful to one woman. Okay, all right, let's see.
180. Like, he was a completely new man. He was a family-oriented man. He even got Yoli pregnant and proposed to her in that time. Yoli, being a fan of this potion, said, well, I'm not waiting for my 6 months to come up. I'm going back now and I'm getting some more. So she went back and she got another potion before the 6 months was up and fed it again to Mark to, ensure longevity in this princess treatment that she was getting. So Mark has no idea that he's under a spell, that anything is being done to him. Like, he is living his life regularly. Keep in mind, when you go to a voodoo priest and they do these services for you guys, this is not cheap, okay? So you actually have to come out of pocket and pay a ton of money to fuck up your life like this. Yoli had an amazing year, okay? She had an amazing year with Mark. She was now pregnant. She was ready to start her life with her man until finances hit. Meaning that Yoli can't afford to go to the voodoo priest again to get a new potion. So, her thinking, this is probably just a marketing scheme anyway that the voodoo priest told her, so she can keep coming back and keep spending her money, because it's been a whole year and her man was sweet. So she said, I ain't going back. I'm not spending my money again. So, the year went on, the potion wore off, and child, Mark was back. When the spell wore off of Mark, now, trigger warning, DV. When that spell wore off, it is as though all of the love and all of the adoration that Mark had for Yoli over that year, all of it turned into hate, but tenfold. One day, Mark woke up and he hated Yoli. So it started off pretty slow. So, domestic violence. So now Mark is an extremely violent man. So Mark is whooping Yoli's every chance he gets. So now Yoli has found herself in an extremely abusive relationship that she wasn't even in before. And keep in mind, she's with child. Verbal abuse, physical abuse, she was dealing with all of it. Mark also became just an angry individual just in his regular life. He was very short-fused and very short-tempered with people in general. He seemed to have no sympathy for even the baby that Yoli seemed to be carrying for him. So Yoli decides to go back to the priest and get yet another dose and goes back home and feeds it to Mark. Except this time, she didn't get the princess treatment that she got the first time. She got Mark being extremely in love with her, but the abuse was still there. If not, it was worse. Yoli could not get away from this man. And it's damned if you do and damned if you don't, because in 6 months, when this new potion wears off, what will become of Mark? And if she doesn't do it, what will become of her? So it's kind of like, does she get another potion just to keep him sweet so she can stay alive? Or does she just lean him off? Like, what to do? Yoli goes to her family about it, and her family decides, we're going to help you get away, Yoli, because you need to get out of there now, because he will unalive you at some point. So the family drives over and gets Yoli. So it's like a secret rescue mission while he's not home. So the family gets her and they escape. Listen, I'm tired. If you guys want to hear the aftermath of everything, if you guys want to hear how this story ends and what will happen with Yoli and Mark.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, y'all, they had to go on a whole rescue mission to get this girl from her husband. Like, I don't even know if they had got married or not. Maybe they was finna get married. I don't know. But they had to do a whole rescue mission. This is crazy. This is absurd. Let's get part 2.
And tells them what she's been doing to Mark. And basically, somebody from her family tells her this is not going to end very well. Like, this is actually going to end really bad for you and your unborn child. So her family decided that they were actually going to rescue Yoli. One day while Mark wasn't home, the family drove to their house and picked up Yoli while, like I said, Mark was gone. So they successfully get Yoli out of that house. And I don't know how much later until Mark found out that Yoli has actually ran away. They get homegirl and they're like, all right, obviously the problem is not fixed, because Mark would soon come home to an empty house, wondering where the fuck did my beloved go. And we all know how Mark gets these days. So, well, Mark would come home and would notice there is no traces of Yoli. Yoli's clothes was gone, Yoli's belongings are gone, Yoli's shoes are gone, and Mark went absolutely ballistic. Okay, he absolutely tore up everything in that house and it found Yoli some way, somehow. This motherfucker managed to track Yoli down to her family's house. And if you know anything about Haitian men with guts, they got some motherfucking guts, because they will go to your parents' house and request your parents to give you back, basically. That's what Mark did. Mark pulled up to the family house and started bang, 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 banging on the door. And obviously nobody's opening the door because the entire family has been warned, do not open the door for Mark. So what does Mark do? Mark leaves the house, goes down the block, gets rocks and freaking glass bottles and starts throwing them at the house while he is shouting the worst insults to humans, okay? Like, he is calling this girl Yoli everything but a child of God while literally vandalizing their house. Well, Mark refuses to leave because he stood outside that door and requested for Yoli to come outside the entire night, and he got progressively angrier. Well, the next day, he finally decides that he was gonna go home. But before he went home, he left the family with a very nice threat, telling them, oh, trust me, I'm just gonna go home to take a shower because I'll be back. And guess what? Mark came the fuck back. And Mark literally was wreaking havoc for Yoli, because Yoli at this point is petrified and she just wants nothing but to get away with Yoli, but to get away from Mark. And keep in mind, in Haiti, we don't have cops like y'all do in America. We're just gonna call the cops and they're gonna come and save us from our stalker. No, Yoli was stuck inside of that family's house along with the rest of her family because the person who left the house to go confront Mark the last time, well, we'll just say that Mark beat the shit out of Yoli's brother, because Yoli's brother was the one to go outside one of those days when he got tired of it to tell Mark, yo, you gotta go the fuck home. Well, Mark beat him up really bad. So, boom. A week goes by, nobody hears from Mark, and everybody's just thinking, like, maybe it's done, maybe it's clipped, like, maybe he's actually over it, right? Until he comes back. But this time when he comes back, Yoli wasn't even in the house. And Yoli went grocery shopping at this point, so Yoli's not in the house. She felt safe enough to go grocery shopping because it's been a week and Mark has not been back. So when Mark decides to come back, it's at the point that Yoli is just not inside. And while Mark is outside causing havoc, requesting to see Yoli, here comes Yoli walking to the house and witnessing Mark slowly turn around and make eye contact with her, while Yoli drops all of the groceries and tries to take off running, to which Mark would take off running after her. Well, he wrestled her in the woods. He caught up to her, wrestled her in the woods, and beat the living shit out of Yoli and told her that if you do not come back with me, I will drag your ass back home right now. And as Yoli got up to go back to the house with Mark, thank God one of his family members, like I guess more than one, actually came outside and managed to get Yoli off of Mark. They got Yoli back inside of the house, and Yoli was hurt, you guys. Like she suffered serious injuries. And if you're wondering about the baby was fine, some way, somehow. But she was born with a lot of severe issues. They got Yoli back inside of the house, and at this point, Mark is like, I'm gonna fucking come back. So that's when Yoli and Yoli's family decided, nah, we have to do something to actually keep Mark away. We have to do something to protect our family and to protect Yoli. So what they did is they went to a voodoo priest and got something called pood. If you guys don't know what pood is, it translates to powder, and it's a deadly powder. Depending on your intentions or who you get it from, or I don't even really know how poods work, but I just know that the family went to a voodoo priest, requested pood, and put it in front of their doorstep for any unwelcomed guests. So that means if you step on that pood and it was intended for you, that specific pood, here was the effects, that they were gonna feel like their body was literally burning from the inside out. So they actually got the pood, the powder, and they sprayed it in front of their door, and they waited for Mark to come back. And inevitably, Mark would come back. Mark came back, but this time he was greeted with a freaking surprise. He stepped on the pood. And this was basically Mark's downfall, because the minute he stepped on the pood, Mark would describe what felt like he was literally caught on fire from the inside out. So much so that Mark would drop to his feet, drop to his knees, and just scream in agonizing pain, like, "Ah!" Like trying to peel his skin off, like he is being burnt alive, and he is in front of the doorstep, just literally like can't breathe, and he looks like he's going into cardiac arrest. Well, the family weren't gonna go outside to save him, so I guess like a freaking pedestrian saw what was happening to him in front of the house, decided to help him. So a pedestrian felt sorry for Mark and got him to the hospital. And when he got to the hospital, well, nobody could figure out what was wrong with him. So, they just kind of basically let him have a bed, and they let him have an ice bath. And it was the most uncomfortable experience for him, because obviously he doesn't need this ice bath, and he feels like he's burning up. Well, Mark would actually go on, and his health would just decline as time went on really, really, really badly, until one day he actually passed away from a heart attack. So, yeah. And Yoli went on to have her baby, and her baby came out, that child definitely came out with some form of developmental disabilities. So, and, I guess the surprise of this story is, y'all ready? This was actually my mother's sister's story. So Yoli was my mother's sister. So yeah, don't fucking do love spells on people, guys. Don't do it. It's not worth it, okay? It's so not worth it. So don't do it. Don't do it. And when I told the story this way for a reason, because I didn't want to put myself in it, but it was actually my story. And they brought Yoli back to my house to stay with my mom, okay? So when Mark was outside wilding and doing all of this, I was actually one of the kids who were inside of the house, petrified, because our house was being vandalized. So, yeah. And Yoli, that's not her real name, by the way. Yoli proceeded on living with us for the next 10 years after that. Like, she kind of just didn't leave the crib, right? But yes, that was Yoli's story, which would have been my mother's sister. So yeah, guys, do not do love spells on people. I guess when the story was explained to me,
Okay, y'all. So that's it. That whole story was wild. That whole situation was wild, y'all. I was not expecting to find out that was actually like one of her family members, but that's a really good example as to like what could happen if you proceed to do like love spells, love magic, dark magic on people, trying to manipulate other people's energy. Like, you really shouldn't be doing that, because that cost that man his life. And ultimately, a innocent child had to pay off a karmic debt of the mother. So now, a child was born into the world like disabled. So yeah, that's a really awful story. That was really sad. So, okay, y'all, let me know in the comment section down below what y'all think about this video. Let me know if y'all have experienced anything, or you know anybody that had any type of weird like setback from doing any type of love magic or dark voodoo or whatever on people. Just, let me know. Stay away from it, y'all. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. All right. Peace.